How to add color and shading to your superhero drawing digitally using the website Photopea. All right, so I'm in the process of coloring my superhero, and just to show you, the top layer is the lines, the bottom layer is the color. I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to see there's a little area here I need to color. So first I'm going to change the foreground color to the same as the skin color. Just click on the square for the foreground color, hover the mouse over the color you want, and click on it, and then hit OK. Now I'm going to go up to the layer with the lines, this layer, and I'm going to select my area with the magic wand. Now if you need to select multiple areas, you hold down the Shift key and you then select additional areas. You can zoom in as close as you want. Go back to the magic wand. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, so Control Z. There we go. Okay, so let me just zoom out and make sure there's no other areas I need to select. Oh, here we go. Over here, there's some areas I need to select. So let me just zoom in again. I'm going to use the Shift key because I'm keeping the stuff that I had selected before. And let's move over here. It looks like there's a little bit here I need to select. All right, so that's all going to be skin color. Let me zoom out and let me make sure that there's nothing else. Okay, it looks like there's a little area here I need to select. So let me go in here. And again, back to the magic wand, but I have to hold the Shift key or it will Control Z if you accidentally mess up. I have to hold the Shift key because if I don't, it will deselect the old areas. So holding the Shift key down, I get in here and here. And now I'm going to zoom out again. All right, now edit, let's do layer. Select, modify, expand. I'm going to expand the selection by 1 pixel, and then I'm going to go down to this background layer where my color is. I'm going to do edit, fill, foreground, and that will fill in all those areas. And the reason why I expanded my selection and then went underneath it to add the color is when you zoom in and you look, it's a very clean amount of color that I put in here. So I'm going to compare it. I'm going to mess this up by doing an edit fill here and show you the difference. So I go up here and I'm going to select in here, and I'll hold my Shift key and select in here, and I'm just going to do edit fill foreground color so that it's in the same layer as the lines, and I'm going to show you what happens. So edit fill foreground color. Now select, deselect, and you see it looks pretty crappy because there are these little pixels that got left out. So what happens is if you do Control Z, and now you have these 2 areas selected, and you do select, modify, expand by 1 pixel. But I don't want to cover over my drawing, so instead of doing it here and hiding part of my drawing, I'll do it here in the background layer, edit, fill, and then when I deselect, you see it's a very clean fill. There's no little white pixels there, but I didn't mess up my drawing because the color is in the layer underneath the drawing, and that's how you get a very clean fill, and that's how I did the entire thing. Let me just zoom out a little more. All right, so how did I get this layer with just the black lines in it? The way I did that was I took my picture, which I'd scanned on Turbo Scan, and I did select color range. And I actually just took the cursor, the move tool, and I put it over the blackest area, and I clicked. And initially it was only like this, so it looked like half of it was dropping out. So you have to slide this over until you see the entire image, but not, you don't want a lot of noise from the background, but you do want to get your whole image. And then you hit OK, and that selects just the black lines. And they're really not, all of them aren't really black. Some of them are kind of gray. So in order to get that uniform black, I'm going to do edit, fill, and just universally fill them with black. Okay, and that should give me a nice clean line. Now, if you want to, you can also do select, modify, and expand the selection by 1 pixel. But a lot of times if you do that, you lose some of the subtlety. So I just like to fill it with black. And then I do edit, copy, and then file, new. And what I'm going to do is I'll create a print file that is letter sized. I'll hit create, but then I'll do image, transform, rotate 90 degrees. So it's a letter sized piece of paper, but held landscape. And then I'll do edit, paste. And as you can see, the top layer is just the lines. The bottom layer is the white paper. But I have all this noise here, so it's really easy to erase it. Eraser can be adjusted just like any other brush, make it wider. And I can go in here and erase a lot of the background noise. If I'm concerned about background noise, I can also go to the background color and fill it with black temporarily. And you can see there's not a lot of little noise there. So let me do Control Z. Okay, so this is the line drawing. Now notice the top of his head has some pixels missing because I drew him near the top of the page and it got cropped out. So I'm going to fix that. There's a way to fix it. I'm going to go up here to layer 1. I'm going to use my lasso tool, and I'm going to just zoom in here. I'm going to zoom in here and use my lasso and just get some pixels from the top of his head. I'll do edit, copy, edit, paste, and then I'm going to move those pixels over to here and edit, transform, rotate, and just rotate them down onto his head so his head looks more complete. And now, well, let's see, move it down a little. There we go. Now it looks perfectly fine. And now I'll just take this layer and merge it down with that layer. Now, you might be wondering how I colored the hair. There's a trick. So let me zoom in. And the hair is going to be problematic because I'm not going to select all these little areas. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I see a lot of this color kind of dropping out, which is not great. So I'm going to do select color range again. And I'm going to click on this black. And then I'm going to do edit fill. And I'm going to fill it with black. I don't really like that. Control Z. Okay. Select deselect. Select color range. This looks like the areas that are still gray. So what happens if I do edit fill? There we go. All right. Select deselect. Let's look at the picture as a whole. So let's zoom out again. Looks good. All right, and there's a little bit of noise up here, so I'm going to get rid of that. My eraser tool, I'm just going to go around here and grab all the little bits of noise and get rid of them. So it's just the characters. And now we're ready to cook with gas. I'm going to go to the background layer and I'm going to use my lasso tool. I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to take my lasso tool and I'm going to just draw right around the hair. There we go. Now remember, I'm in this background layer, not in the layer with the lines. So I'm going to change my foreground color to a nice yellow because I imagine my hero to have blonde hair. And I'm going to do edit fill foreground color. And because it's in the layer underneath, it does not mess up my line quality. Now I'm going to switch to my paintbrush and there we go. That's a nice paintbrush. I'll make it a little fuzzier. And I'm going to just go in here. I'll do select, deselect. And I'm just going to go in here and fill in a little bit of the hair. All right. So if I wanted to color in the arm, I don't want to have to use the lasso tool, and I don't need to. So what I'm going to do is I'll zoom out, and I'm going to show you how to color some larger areas. And then I'm going to go back to my other finished picture so I can show you how to shade. So let me see. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to select his face with the magic wand. Let's see, select, deselect. Got to go into the layer with the lines. I was in the wrong layer. Okay, so select his face, select his ear, hold the shift key down or else you're going to deselect the face when you select the ear. So select his body, select his legs. I'm selecting a lot of areas. I want to select his ear and I'm concerned about accidentally hitting the line, I can zoom way in and make sure, hold the shift key down, make sure that I can just select the areas that I want. Okay, now let's zoom out and, oh, let me zoom in and get the fingers on the hand. So holding the shift key down, I'm going to grab the fingers. Ta-da. Okay. So now I believe I have most of it selected. Let me zoom out. And now I need to grab the skin color that I had before. All right. So let me zoom out a little more. All right. So this was the skin color I had before, and I'm going to grab that. I'll go to my foreground color, just click on the skin color and hit OK. Now going back here, I'm going to go select, modify. Well, actually, you know what? Let me not do select modify, and let me just show you how crappy it looks if I don't do select modify. So I'm just going to do edit fill foreground color in the top layer, not the bottom layer, and I'm going to just do select deselect, and I'm going to zoom in and show you why we don't do that. So this is in the top layer, the layer that is the same as the lines, and I didn't do select modify, and you can see it looks really sloppy. So I'm going to do Control Z and Control Z. So it's the area is still selected, but now I'm going to do select, modify, expand by 1 pixel, and because I've expanded it into the black lines, it's going to affect the quality of my drawing, which I don't want. So instead of doing it up here, I'm going to do it down here. Okay. So it's going to fill in the area, expanded by 1 pixel, but that pixel will go underneath the black lines and create a very clean fill. So edit, fill, foreground color. And now I'm going to do select, deselect, and you're going to see I have this very nice, neat coloring job, way better than I would have had because I didn't lose any of the detail of my lines. I got right beyond the edge so that there's no little gaps, and all that color is in the layer beneath, so I didn't lose any of my drawing. And now if I want to just, let me go back to the top layer, I'll magic wand this area up here. And select, modify, expand by 1 pixel, go down to this layer, edit, fill, foreground color, and now I have a nice filled area. Okay, but I don't want to waste time on this. Now that you understand the concept, I'm going to go to this one, which is already close to done, and we're going to talk about how to add shadows to this. So hidden underneath your blur tool is your burn tool. Burn tool can be adjusted just like any other brush. So it can be made wider or narrower, and it can be made harder or softer. And it also can be, you can change the exposure as well. Now what the burn tool does is it takes any pixels that are underneath it and makes them darker, but keeps the same color. So let me just show you on his legs how that works. Here's the burn tool, and I can give you a nice shadow. Okay. Now if I want a softer edge shadow, I just go here. Give you a little bit of a softer edge for a subtler shadow. And if you go over the original lines, it'll make them even darker. You can see it kind of gives them a nice 3D sort of look. I want to give this a harder edge, so and I want to give it a smaller size so I can get in here. There we go. So that's burning. Now let's talk about dodging. So underneath the blur tool is also a tool called the dodge tool. It looks like a little lollipop. I'll change its size. I'll change its hardness. I'm going to make it very soft. And there we go. I'm going to change the exposure, make it a little bit more extreme. And I'm going to use the dodge tool to create highlights. So you can create shadows and you can create highlights using a combination of the burn and dodge tool. And that will definitely give your characters a 3D quality that you couldn't otherwise achieve. Look how flat the first guy now looks compared to the second guy. So you've learned to select areas using select color range. So you can take your original image and just select the color range so that you don't have to worry about any noise in the background. You can fill it with black to make sure you get a nice even color. You can copy and paste that selection into a new document. You can select areas and then modify and expand them and then color in the layer below to get a nice clean color line. And now you've also learned how to burn and dodge.